So you join me here today at Baulking Lake, which is a new Embryo water, which is soon to be opened as a group booking venue in South Oxfordshire. Now, the reason we've chosen this venue is because it's quite deep with depths to over 40 foot, which makes it an ideal venue for this time of the year, which is obviously autumn time. Now, we've already caught one this morning, a lovely scaly mirror, so we'll get that one out in a minute, and then I'll run through a few of the tactics that I employ on these kind of deep venues at this time of year. So this is the second of the two bites that I've had this morning. Nice little 17-pound linear. Lovely carp, but we've got a slightly bigger one in the net over there. So I'm going to slip this one back and we'll get that one out for you to have a look at. So this is the first of the two bites that I had this morning. And check him out, what a great looking carp. A little bit bigger than the other one at just over 23 pounds. So yeah, super pleased with him. I mean, he's a lovely fish already, but you imagine this one in the future. No doubt this will be a really sought after fish in the future with these big moon scales. Really is a great looking carp. And another one from over 23 foot of water. So I'm going to slip this back and explain to you in a bit more detail about how I like to go about fishing in those kind of depths at this time of year. So although I have had a couple of bites this morning, fishing for what we saw yesterday when we arrived, it's become apparent through the course of the night last night and through the morning this morning that the bulk of the fish now are actually more in front of this swim and slightly to the right. I've seen a lot of fizzing and a lot of shows out there this morning. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a lead about straight in front where they're fizzing up, and I'm probably going to move at least 2 rods, maybe all 3, out to where we've seen all that activity. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a little lead about out there, see if I can find anything of interest, and I'm going to pop the marker float on, pop it up so I can work out how deep it is, and then yeah, get a couple of rods out there. Long old drop. That's thick silt out there. that 4.5 ounce lead has really plugged in, but that's where the fish are. They're obviously happy to feed in that, so I'm going to put the rods. Oh, there we go. That is deep. 37 foot there. Yeah, 37 foot of water. That's where the fish were. And that's where we're going to fish. So when fishing in deep water, it's important to ensure that you're baiting accurately over the top of your rigs. Obviously, the deeper the water, the more your leads are going to swing back on the drop. So if you're casting your spom at the same range as your fishing rods, then no doubt you're going to be baiting a hell of a lot further than what your rigs are landing at. Now, there's no set rule as to how to work out that sort of difference. You know, there's a lot of different factors to take into account. Depth of water, the range you're fishing at, even the diameter of the line or whatever braid you're using is all going to make a difference. So I found the best way to do it is to actually cast a marker float, wrap a marker float up to the same range as what you're going to be fishing at, cast it out there, obviously feel for a drop as you would do with your fishing rods, pop that marker float to the surface and then spom to the float. Obviously cast the spom out there, if it lands a bit further than the float, just bring it back a couple of foot and eventually you'll have it bang on. Basically, you want to be baiting on top of that float, that way you know you're going to be baiting over the top of the rigs. So now I've found the range that I want to be spomming at, I'm just going to get the rest of my bait out there. Last night I caught over about 25 spoms, so I'm going to do exactly the same tonight and hopefully we can get a couple more in the morning. Well, it's 9 AM now and unfortunately we haven't caught anything this morning. Now by this time yesterday I'd had both of those fish. I did obviously take a bit of a gamble yesterday by moving the rods from over there to where they are fishing now in much deeper water. But we'd seen a lot of carp there and a lot of bubbling, you know, they were definitely there yesterday. I did have a few liners this morning, you know, around about first light, so no doubt a few fish were out there. Maybe I put too much bait in, I'm not sure. But as I say, unfortunately we haven't caught one. I mean, we've still got a couple more hours left, so there's still a chance yet. But if we don't get one, hopefully you guys can still take something from this and apply it to your own angling this autumn.